The celebration at Iel Jordino was supposed to be a moment of triumph and joy for Will Spencer, marking a significant step forward in his life and career. A well-earned promotion that he and the Forrester family had been looking forward to with anticipation. Deacon Sharp, ever the schemer with a penchant for control and showmanship, had meticulously arranged the evening, ensuring every detail reflected not just the importance of the occasion, but also the prestige of the Forrester legacy. The restaurant was lavishly decorated, the lighting soft yet elegant, the tables adorned with fresh flowers, and the champagne flutes sparkling in anticipation of the toasts that would honor Will's success. Friends, colleagues, and family members gathered, smiling, laughing, and raising their glasses, all eager to celebrate Will's achievements. The atmosphere was buoyant, a rare moment of uncomplicated happiness in the often turbulent lives of the Forresters. Will, dressed sharply in a tailored suit, was at the center of attention, beaming with pride as he exchanged handshakes and embraces, unaware that the night's carefully constructed facade of serenity and celebration was about to be shattered by an unexpected and audacious intrusion. Luna, always unpredictable and driven by motives that often bordered on the impulsive, had found a way to infiltrate the party, disguised cleverly enough to blend in with the well-heeled crowd without immediate detection. Her plan, though seemingly innocuous at first, carried the seeds of chaos, aimed at disrupting the smooth flow of the event and exposing hidden tensions that might otherwise have remained dormant. Luna's presence was unnoticed initially as she mingled, her eyes scanning the room, calculating her next move with the precision of a strategist and the recklessness of someone who thrived on dramatic disruption. She found her target in Electra, who, unaware of Luna's intentions, was caught off guard by the unexpected proximity and the subtle provocations Luna initiated. In a twist that seemed orchestrated by fate itself, a misdirected interaction, a brief, impulsive kiss, occurred between Luna and Electra, an incident that instantly ignited a whirlwind of confusion and emotional turmoil. Will, witnessing this unforeseen, mistaken kiss, felt as if the ground had been pulled out from beneath him. The nascent relationship he had been nurturing with Electra, built on fragile trust and tender hope, was thrown into jeopardy in an instant, leaving him shaken, disoriented, and grappling with the sudden rupture of a bond he had so carefully cultivated. The guests, initially oblivious to the subtle but seismic shifts in the room, soon picked up on the tension. Whispers circulated, glances were exchanged, and the atmosphere, once filled with celebration and cheer, became charged with speculation and unease. Deacon, who had orchestrated the party to reflect not only his influence, but also his control over the narrative of Forrester family successes, was blindsided. The chaos that Luna's intrusion had sparked put him in an uncomfortable spotlight, forcing him to manage the fallout with all the finesse he could muster, though it was clear that this event had temporarily slipped beyond even his control. The incident rapidly escalated into a media spectacle. Forrester Communications, accustomed to managing high-profile situations and protecting the family's image, was suddenly in crisis mode. Social media buzzed with speculation, insider accounts, and even misleading narratives about what had transpired, amplifying the embarrassment and threatening to tarnish the reputation carefully maintained by the Forresters for decades. Each image, each whisper, each misinterpreted glance became fodder for gossip columns and tabloids, creating a storm that Deacon had to navigate while simultaneously trying to repair the damage to Will's personal and professional image. The tension was further complicated by Sheila Carter, ever the observer with her own shadowy agenda. Unseen by most, Sheila watched the unfolding drama with keen interest, absorbing every reaction, every misstep, and every moment of vulnerability with the precision of a predator assessing her environment. Her presence, though discreet, added an invisible layer of menace to the evening. Sheila's understanding of human weaknesses and her history with the Foresters meant that she could exploit the slightest lapse for maximum impact. And her watchful gaze over Deacon and the chaos he found himself entangled in signaled that the night's events were far from over. Will, struggling to process the emotional blow dealt by Luna's intrusion and the kiss with Electra, felt an overwhelming sense of betrayal, confusion, and heartbreak. What had begun as a night of celebration had transformed into a battlefield of emotions, where trust was questioned, relationships were tested, and the fragile foundations of personal bonds were shaken to their core. Electra, caught in the middle, wrestled with her own feelings of surprise, guilt, and indignation, her attempts to explain or justify the incident proving insufficient to calm the storm that now surrounded her. The implications of Luna's actions rippled outward, affecting not just Will and Electra, but Deacon's standing, the Forrester family's public image, and the delicate balance of power, loyalty, and reputation within their interconnected social world. Every detail of the party, the smiles, the toasts, the carefully arranged decorations, stood in stark contrast to the emotional upheaval that had just erupted, highlighting the fragility of appearances and the ease with which a single moment could unravel even the most meticulously planned event. The fallout from this incident would not be confined to the walls of Iel Jordino. Deacon, having been placed under scrutiny, faced questions about his judgment, his ability to control situations, and even his complicity in the circumstances that allowed Luna to disrupt the evening. Sheila's silent observation meant that the information gathered during the chaos could be leveraged for her own future manipulations, leaving Deacon vulnerable not only to external judgment but also to the covert machinations of those who sought to exploit every crack in his armor. Will, emotionally bruised and publicly humiliated, was left to confront the reality of his disrupted romance, questioning the sincerity of those around him, the stability of his relationships, and the trustworthiness of those he considered allies. Electra, despite her innocence in the orchestration of the mishap, became the unwitting epicenter of gossip and conjecture, further complicating her standing within the social and professional circles that had once celebrated her presence. Meanwhile, Luna, whose audacious interference had sparked the turmoil, disappeared from immediate view, leaving behind a trail of confusion, anger, and unanswered questions. Her motives, though partially discernible, remained shrouded in mystery, and the consequences of her actions continued to reverberate, ensuring that no one involved would be untouched by the incident. The night, which had begun as a jubilant acknowledgement of achievement and potential, had transformed into a crucible of emotional exposure, testing the limits of loyalty, love, and reputation. For Deacon, it became a moment of reckoning, highlighting the precarious balance between control and chaos and demonstrating how quickly a single variable, a disguised intruder, a misdirected kiss, could tip the scales and create a cascade of consequences. For Will, the evening marked the abrupt end of romantic innocence, the shattering of emerging trust, and the introduction of complicated doubts that would influence his decisions and relationships for months to come. For Electra, it became a defining moment, an involuntary initiation into the unforgiving scrutiny of public perception and personal vulnerability. And for Sheila, it was a strategic observation, a gathering of intelligence that could be wielded with precision to further her own ambitions, a reminder that in the world of the Foresters, no detail was too small, no misstep too insignificant, and no gathering of family and friends so safe from intrusion that it could not be manipulated to serve a hidden agenda. As the night drew to a close, the echoes of laughter and celebration had been replaced by whispers of confusion, judgment, and speculation. Iel Jordino, once a haven of elegance and festivity, now bore witness to the fallout of deception, mischief, and impulsive choices. The Forrester name, always in the public eye, had been subjected to scrutiny once more, proving that even a moment meant to honor achievement and success could quickly spiral into chaos under the influence of human unpredictability and hidden agendas. The interplay of ambition, desire, and secrecy had collided spectacularly, leaving every participant, Deacon, Will, Electra, and those observing in the shadows, entangled in a web of consequences that none could have fully anticipated, and ensuring that the ripples of this single disrupted celebration would reverberate through the Forrester family and their associates for a long time to come. The night at Iel Jordino would be remembered not for the accolades, the laughter, or the champagne toasts, but for the unexpected drama, the shattered expectations, and the reminder that in the world of the bold and the beautiful, no victory is ever safe from disruption, no celebration immune to scandal, and no moment free from the potential for chaos, all carefully observed and potentially exploited by those like Sheila, whose presence turned mere incidents into opportunities for power, leverage, and long-term consequence. Every smile now held a shadow of doubt, every conversation a hidden tension, every glance an unspoken accusation. Will's celebration, meant to honor achievement, instead became a tableau of vulnerability, exposure, and the fragility of trust, leaving each participant to navigate the aftermath of a night where the line between joy and disaster had been irrevocably blurred. The dramatic turn of events on CBS's The Bold and the Beautiful takes an unexpected and terrifying twist as the long-absent and presumed dead Luna makes a shocking reappearance, igniting a series of reactions that will change the course of several characters' lives. For Steffy Forrester, Luna's return is not just a matter of shocking news. It's a living nightmare that brings with it the ghosts of her past, a constant reminder of the terrifying moments that have left deep emotional scars. Luna's reappearance in a series of unsettling videos, showing that she is very much alive and still lurking in the shadows, causes an immediate sense of panic for Steffy, who has been unable to shake the fear and trauma of the events that have haunted her for months. As Luna resurfaces with her unpredictable and dangerous motives, the entire Forrester family is thrown into turmoil, with Bill Spencer, who has always had a deep and unsettling fear of the chaos Luna's presence can unleash, realizing that the nightmare he thought was over has only just begun. Steffy, who has been trying to rebuild her life and move on from the dark events of the past, is now faced with the terrifying reality that Luna, the woman who nearly destroyed everything she held dear, is still very much alive. The fear of Luna's return is not just about the potential for physical harm, but the emotional and psychological toll it takes on Steffy, who cannot forget the shooting incident that nearly cost her everything. As Steffy grapples with her worst fears coming true, she faces the reality that Luna's influence over her life might not be over, far from it. The revelation that Luna is alive triggers an overwhelming sense of dread within Steffy. She had hoped, with every fiber of her being, that the nightmare of Luna's malicious acts, the terror of the shooting, and the constant feeling of being hunted were all behind her. But the truth is far more devastating. Luna's reappearance in these eerie videos, subtly taunting Steffy with the fact that she's still out there, hiding, waiting for the right moment to strike, forces Steffy to relive the trauma she thought she had buried. The shooting incident, which had left Steffy in a state of constant fear and uncertainty, was a constant reminder of how Luna's wrath could reach anyone at any time, with no warning or mercy. Steffy had been lucky to escape with her life that time, but the terror of it all had never truly left her. Now, as she watches Luna in the videos, a rush of anxiety and fear floods her senses. The question looms large in her mind. What does Luna want, and why is she back? Has she been waiting all this time for the perfect moment to enact some kind of twisted revenge? Steffy's world, once filled with the possibility of moving forward and healing, is now plunged back into a state of chaos and uncertainty. How can she ever feel safe again, knowing that Luna is still out there, alive, and potentially plotting her next move? The emotional toll of these developments cannot be understated. Steffy, a woman who has fought through so much in her life, now faces the emotional and psychological fallout from the return of someone who has caused her unimaginable pain. Luna's presence, whether real or just the haunting specter of her past, looms over Steffy like a dark cloud, making it impossible for her to find peace. And as much as Steffy tries to convince herself that Luna is just a ghost from the past, the reality of her survival brings with it the chilling possibility that the nightmare is far from over. For Bill Spencer, Luna's reappearance is a nightmare of his own making. Bill has always had a deep-seated fear of Luna and the unpredictable chaos she brings with her. He knows all too well how dangerous she can be, having been on the receiving end of her wrath in the past. The thought of her returning to wreak havoc on the lives of those he cares about is a constant source of anxiety for Bill, a man who has already been through so much in his personal and professional life. Now that Luna is back, that fear is magnified, and Bill cannot help but wonder what kind of destruction she will cause this time. Bill, who has always been a powerful figure in the Forrester family and in the world of business, is now faced with a threat that is far more personal and dangerous than any corporate rival. The terror he feels at the thought of Luna's return is palpable, and it shakes him to his core. The videos that Luna has released, showing her alive and well, serve as a chilling reminder of the power she holds over everyone around her. Bill knows that Luna's unpredictability is what makes her so dangerous. He understands her ability to manipulate, to use fear as a weapon, and to exploit weaknesses in the people around her. Bill's worry deepens when he realizes that Steffy, who has already been through so much, is once again the focal point of Luna's cruel games. Bill's protective instincts are on high alert, and he is determined to ensure that Luna does not have the chance to hurt Steffy or anyone else he cares about. But as he watches the videos and processes the fact that Luna is alive, he knows that stopping her will not be easy. She is elusive, cunning, and has a way of slipping through the cracks, making her a constant threat that is nearly impossible to predict. As Steffy continues to wrestle with her emotions, she finds herself unable to escape the fear and trauma that Luna's return has triggered. She can't shake the memories of the shooting, of being in the hospital, of wondering if she would survive. And now, with Luna back in the picture, Steffy can't help but feel as though she is once again a target. Her heart races every time she hears a noise in the dark, every time she receives a mysterious message, every time she sees a glimpse of someone watching her. The psychological toll is immense. She can no longer trust her own instincts, and the fear of what Luna might do next consumes her every waking moment. The idea that Luna could still be out there, watching, waiting, ready to strike at any moment, fills Steffy with a sense of helplessness she can't escape. This is not just a physical threat. It is a psychological one that threatens to unravel everything Steffy has worked so hard to rebuild. The tension escalates as Steffy becomes increasingly paranoid, unable to feel safe even in the confines of her own home. She is constantly on edge, looking over her shoulder and fearing that Luna might be lurking around every corner. It takes a toll on her relationships, her work, and her sense of stability. The person she once was, confident and driven, is now overshadowed by the trauma of her past and the constant fear of what Luna could do next. The unsettling feeling that Luna is not finished with her yet brings Steffy to a breaking point. She has already suffered so much, and the prospect of enduring more at the hands of Luna feels unbearable. Yet, despite her fear, Steffy is determined not to let Luna win. She refuses to let Luna's return define her or dictate her future. But as the stakes continue to rise, it becomes clear that Steffy's journey is far from over. Luna's reappearance is just the beginning of a new chapter of fear, uncertainty, and perhaps even danger. As for Bill, his protective instincts will undoubtedly guide his next steps. He knows that Luna is a threat, and he is willing to do whatever it takes to protect Steffy, even if it means confronting the demons of the past and facing off against Luna in a battle that will have consequences for everyone involved. The future remains uncertain, and as the tension builds, it's clear that the haunting presence of Luna will continue to loom over the lives of those who are most vulnerable to her wrath. The psychological toll of this renewed fear will change the course of Steffy's life and the lives of those around her in ways they never expected.